Hi and welcome back to Classic Vinyl Top 10. Thanks for joining me today as we continue this deranged countdown of the top 100 songs ever, in my opinion. And today it's 50 down to 26, remembering that it's one song per artist. No doubt a few more surprises, quite a bit of controversy, no doubt. I hope you find it interesting, and if so, kindly like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I look forward to your comments as well. Had some fantastic comments so far, but hope it picks up even more as we draw closer to the controversial top 10 and the especially controversial number 1. Okay, let's begin. So in at 50, from their debut album, British band, this is Elbow. This is Asleep in the Back from 2001. It could have been Mirrorball from Seldom Seen, could have been Mirrorball, but the drumming on this I love. Helps create a subtle lushness, even if they do sound as though they're drumming from inside a car wash at times. From the debut album, Elbow, number 50. Okay, number 49, a very mainstream choice, but still a cracking song from one of the very many Elton John compilations, Rocket Man from 1972. The quiet introduction of bass, then ride cymbal, lovely. And it's before Elton's voice became a bit of a caricature, in my opinion. But this was raw and authentic and beautiful. Okay, number 48, one for the Americans, Boston. I've got to get this in here, More Than a Feeling, when it came out in mid-70s, when was it, 1976. It was probably the most ubiquitous American song of recent decades even. Amazing vocal on top of a staggering layered guitar track by Tom Scholz. Perfect drums, probably equally hated, I should think, as well as liked. But for me, it's just great stuff. Not a massive fan of the album actually, but I do love that track. So 48, Boston from 1976. 47, a song that reminds me of summers and girlfriends, luxuriant melody and soul vocals from Hucknall on Holding Back the Years from Simply Red's Talking Book. It made number 1 in the US and number 2 in the UK, so a big deal at the time, but it's one of my go-to ballads. Beautiful song. So that's 47, Simply Red. 46, this is from Bob Marley. It's from Exodus, and the track that I love more than any other of his is Natural Mystic. Or potentially Concrete Jungle, but Natural Mystic. Just cool reggae chords, crescendo from the distance. Very laid back, summer's day with a beer sort of soundtrack. Marley and the Wailers, I think, at their best. Number 45, I'm sure this is controversial. British singer, I assume she's British. This is Ruma. And if you hadn't heard her, give her a go. There's definitely a bit of Karen Carpenter in there. But it's her version of Neil Young's A Man Needs a Maid from 2012. And this is one of 2 Neil Young songs on this list. But for me, she really is one of the best female voices around at the moment. So that's Ruma, A Man Needs a Maid from 2012 in at 45. Number 44, another American band, the Gin Blossoms, and this is Hey Jealousy from 1992. Doug Hopkins was kicked out not long after writing this fizzing song about his excessive drinking and cheating on his girl, but it's a great summer party song. So that's Gin Blossoms, Hey Jealousy. Number 43, a very contemporary song, and again something I haven't got an album for, but it's Silk Sonic, Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak, with their wonderful Leave the Door Open from 2021. It's a fabulous sort of Philly Motown feel to it, with Bruno Mars in particular, I think, sounding sensational. Reached number 1 in the States, and there's a cool, very uplifting retro video if you haven't seen that yet. So Leave the Door Open, Silk Sonic at 43. Number 42, very different sort of song, but beautiful nevertheless. In my opinion, this is the Stones' best song. This is Angie. One of the first songs I remember hearing actually as a kid, and it came from 1973. Yeah, and it's my favourite Jagger vocal. Musically glorious. Reached number 1 in the States, number 5 in the UK. Angie by the Stones. 41. Okay, some people might question why this is even in the list, but for me, particularly with the drums bias, it's a beautiful Sade track, and the one that I've chosen is, wherever I've put it, is It a Crime from 1985? Yeah. So from the delightful sax opening into one of the best arranged songs I know. The percussion is sensational, Sade's exuberant, the dynamics are staggering on this. Only reached number 49 in the UK, don't think it troubled the States charts. And yeah, I know she's accused of dinner party music, blah blah blah, but give Is It a Crime a go and just hear the dynamics, the quiet to the loud, the bits where very little happens, the bits that explode. Yeah, superb. Sade. Okay, number 40, British band, 1978. This is The Jam, and Down in the Tube Station at Midnight from 78. This is Weller's tense polemic, contrasting warm domesticity with sort of late night dangers lurking in the underground. It made number 15 only in the UK, but came from this excellent All Mod Cons album, Down in the Tube Station at Midnight from The Jam. Number 39, another American band from an excellent debut album, which I rate highly. It came from 1977. It's Television, and the track that I love is Friction. Verlaine's unique vocals do battle with the jarring guitars and jazz-influenced drums to create a strong style, and it's a good reflection of this album actually, Marky Moon. 1977, so that's Friction at 39. Okay, 38, English band, back to an English band. This is Tears for Fears. This is from 1992, Woman in Chains. Woman in Chains. It's got a magical introduction before the main flute-like riff appears, and Orzabel's rich vocals join in. Then Alita Adams adds even more depth. It's breathtaking really as it builds. Manu Katché and Phil Collins played drums on this, different parts of the song, I understand. I think they're hugely underrated, even in the UK. And yes, they had that cross-Atlantic number 1. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, I think it was, or was it Shout, that made it number 1 in the States. But it's Woman in Chains that I love. Again, lots of space, brilliant vocals. Alita Adams does add to it certainly, and that's from 1992. Tears for Fears, and this is from the Seeds of Love, which is a great album as well. Okay, God, it's so dark I can hardly read some of my notes. Where are we? It's coming. 37. Okay. This is a band I didn't know much about. Still don't, probably. But I prefer this over their own version. It's got a perfect drum pattern on, and it is The Messenger, from Blonde Redhead, with David Sylvian from Japan on vocals. It came 2004, and it's just a perfect song for Sylvian. And it is a wonderful drum pattern if you haven't heard it. That's Blonde Redhead, in at 37. At 35, one of the best British bands ever, influenced so many, including the Jam we mentioned a few songs ago. This is the Kinks, and I've chosen Waterloo Sunset from 1967. I Am in Paradise. We had to get Ray Davies in here somewhere. It could have been Sunny Afternoon, but this seems even more British. I think more English, more British. And I don't think it charted in the States at all. It made number 2 over here, but Waterloo Sunset did not make the charts when it was released in the States. 35. This is a band I sort of grew up with, and when they first appeared, we thought it was little lads tinkering with electronics and really should go home, which is rather unfair, bearing in mind they became Depeche Mode, and this is Never Let Me Down, which is marvellous, from 1987. What an intro. Banging drum sound and production. Gahan's vocals go from cold to warm. I think Martin Gore's songwriting really deserves more credit, being very consistent. Reached number 22 in the UK, 63 in the US. I believe Smashing Pumpkins covered this as well. I'm not sure I've heard that version, but Never Let Me Down, brilliant. 34, classic album, and the track that I've chosen is Across the Lines from Tracy Chapman. From the optimistic acoustic intro, she leads us into this harrowing American racial tale. They killed the dream of America. Fantastic album. Like I say, there's Joni Mitchell and there's Tracy Chapman. Can you compare them? If you just look at one album, I think Chapman wins, but in terms of body of work, it's Joni, isn't it? But fantastic song. Across the Lines, in at 34. Number 33, a band I was really pleasantly surprised by seeing live earlier this year in the UK, and this is Tool, and the track that I adore is Numa from 2019. It's a great intro. Danny Carey's drum work is always impressive, and the song to me sounds like a sort of horror film soundtrack. I'm not into prog particularly, and I don't really think Tool are prog, but they just do things differently, and Numa in particular is certainly worth a listen. And YouTube, there's plenty of videos, there's one main video of Danny Carey playing the drum track live. It's well worth a listen. Tool. Okay, come on. 32, another British band. This is Tramp, The Logical Song, Rites of Passage, etc., etc. From 1979, I think. Yep, 79. Are those castanets, I think, at the beginning of the song with the keyboards? Anyway, it's a wonderful coming of age banger. Reached the top 10 in both the UK and the US. Supertramp, Logical Song. 31. This is from 1978, and it's a sort of song I appreciated as I got older, and you get responsibilities and the mortgage and the job, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, this is Robert Palmer, and the track that I've chosen is Every Kind of People, the original Every Kind of People. Came out in 78. It's very cool in a dated sort of way. Life enhancing vocals from Palmer, I believe every word. No profit in deceit. It was written by, I only found this out recently, by Andy Fraser of Free, actually. And it reached 53 in the UK and 16 in the US. Robert Palmer. R.I.P. Robert, 1978. Number 30, one of our best British female artists, in my opinion. This is the wonderful Kate Bush and Cloudbusting from 1985. It could have been Army Dreamers. I do love Army Dreamers as well, but the opening chords edged it. The running up the hill drums were here first, although albeit quieter on this rain-making little ditty. Only reached number 20 in the UK. Don't know what it did in the States, if anything. Kate Bush, Cloudbusting. Okay, inside the 30 now. 29. A band that from start to finish people of my age would have witnessed. I think probably a little underrated because of their popularity. But this is The Police, and the track that I've chosen for my top 100 is Bring on the Night from the wonderful Regatta de Blanc. And this is 1979, yeah, 79. The Stuart Copeland hi-hat on this is wonderful. The echo on the kick and the accents. Summers plays a delectable riff, underscoring Sting's congenial vocal meanderings. I think it's really classy. Bring on the Night, The Police. 28, one of the bands I've received most positive comments about actually since starting up the channel. This at 28 is Star Sailor, and the track is Fever from 2001. It builds to a crescendo of soaring vocal and crisp drums with 60s keys throughout. I think it's a perfect song. Fever, Star Sailor. Okay, 27. We haven't had much metal at all actually in this list. I don't really know why, but anyway. At 27, Metallica from the Black Album. It is, of course, Into Sandman from 1991. The nice guitar fools us before Lars comes in with one of the best sounding drum intros ever, in my opinion. Classic nightmare rock, brilliantly executed. I mean, regardless of the guitar work on it, it's the drums that I think are just fantastic. Not super difficult, but beautifully recorded. They really add to the whole feeling of a sinister story, which it is, I suppose. That's Metallica, Enter Sandman, first track. 26, so the last one on this chunk, and this is, okay, it's Springsteen, it's Born to Run. Do I need to say anything else? 1975. It's the Spectre-like intro, brings us the story of the Tramps, Wendy and a biker boy, hope, freedom, ambition, all wrapped up in Springsteen's masterful vocal and relatable lyrics. The highways jammed with broken heroes. The album made number 1 in the US, of course, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about Springsteen, being an Englishman. So I hope you like that brief version. We're coming into the top 25, and that'll be interesting. I think that'll be really interesting. There's a few very personal choices here, and it is a personal list, of course it is. I'm not trying to do everybody's popular list. It is my list, and yesterday the list was slightly different, and tomorrow the list's going to be even more different. I certainly played around with the top three massively. Actually, I just could not make my mind up, and it's changed. It's changed from where it was certainly a week ago. And the top 10 I think you'll find really interesting, if not controversial. And yeah, I look forward to your comments. So if you've enjoyed any of this, kindly like it and share it and do all that stuff. And I'll see you for 25 down to 1 of the top 100 songs of all time, in my opinion. All right. Thanks ever so much. See ya. Bye.